Welcome back to Net 6 and Chill. On today's episode, we're going to discuss a few of the top leagues. And joining me, we got Jacinho. Please tell us, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing a knockoff from the 1980s from the Chinese CCP. It's Holland.
It was a
This is
Communist
when
Party?
the Netherlands. This is when they won the Euros back in the good old days.
Yeah, what do you know about the good old days, Hassan? Tell me more.
You had Ancelotti doing hookers on the side, smoking some shisha with those AC Milan teams, and they had a certain man named Ruud Gullit, big, strong center forward, Van Basten,
You
and
sound
they
like
were
you're
part of
trying
this
to.
Dutch team.
You sound like you're trying to suck him off over there.
But those were the good old days, when the Dutch delight was pretty delightful.
I mean, I
don't know where
what
this
to
is
do with that
going.
information. Hassan, maybe you could tell us about your Amsterdam trips in the other podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, Alex, what are you
Yes.
wearing?
You guys talk about the other podcast so much, I'm actually starting to record episodes for the.
Well, we probably should at this point.
We probably should.
I think, Alex, you're the only one who's not part of the international team today.
Well, I am international, as Leicester's not US based.
Nah, you're not
Think
fucking
about that.
international.
Yeah, you know exactly what I mean.
Fucking
Nah,
eat shit.
It's because that mushroom coffee's kicking in now.
Seems like you had something else that was mushroom, not just the coffee.
I'm wearing a Leicester kit. I think this was the last time we actually visited Leicester. We got these kits. I think my name's on the back. Europa.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I see the Europa League badge.
Yeah, this was it
Mhm.
21, 22?
Yo, what
Yeah,
a
when
night that
they
was.
we watched one play Legia Warsaw.
Legia Warsaw, yeah.
Listen,
Oh,
That was the game.
those were
Hey,
some
we
good
can live with
fans.
the Polish fans. They
Yeah,
doing fireworks.
that's
We
why
did
we
that.
ended up at the pub at 4 a.m. with the Polish guys.
I
Yeah.
do not recall that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you were running around in the cobblestone at 4 a.m.
He was trying to be King Arthur, trying to find the
He
sword.
was.
Anyways, talk about football.
We're
Yeah,
trying to
I
get
mean-
home, and this guy's just running around like.
Like what? Like what?
He's
can't say it
trying
in
to
this
find
podcast.
Excalibur, man.
Football,
All right,
right?
I guess I'm rocking. I think this was the 2 years ago, the Euros, the Germany kid from there, or was the World Cup?
I think that.
Yeah, well, that's the World Cup one. I
Yeah, it's the
think.
World Cup because the Euro one they had the little thing across.
Yeah.
remember.
There you go. Exactly.
You talk about the
Yeah,
World
today
Cup.
we thought we're gonna, maybe go through the top leagues, just see where some teams stand, possibly give us a view into the future of next season's Champions League. So I think we're gonna start with the most interesting for one of our contestants here, La Liga. Hassan, do you want to chime into La Liga?
Did you guys see the game against Atletico this past weekend? Barca Atletico.
Oh,
Atletico's
yeah.
winning 2-0. And I think the last goddamn
Like 20 minutes,
30,
yeah, you guys
20
scored
minutes of
4.
the game. Again, the same thing happened. Like Simeone's he plays good, and then like you were saying, Alex, last week, he starts to park the bus, and the bus gets railed. And the bus gets railed.
You know what? He parked the bus in the middle of a rail tracks. He's got fucking.
And that was actually a really big game because Barca still has a game in hand. And if they would have lost that game, they would have been equal on points with Madrid, and Atletico would have been on top of the table.
You know what else is good? I mean, I know kind of looking forward, but there's still the El Clasico left in May, so that could also be a pretty big deciding factor.
Let's be honest. You know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
get caught
considering
offside
the
like
last
36
couple of Clásicos, yeah.
Oh, it's just they don't know how to play the offside trap.
Yeah, listen, but you know that if Mbappe figures out the offside trap, Barca's going to get railed.
I mean, apparently there was a video of him and Rudiger in the locker room, and Rudiger is trying to fuck him up because he was offside like 10 times and a half. And he's like, "Yo, what are you doing? You can't get onside. Like, what the fuck you doing?" But I will say Madrid is coming into form. Rodrigo, Vinny, and fucking Mbappe, they're putting in shifts. They're winning games. So it's a close game up top. At least it's a 3-horse race still. I think anything could happen.
You know, I think what's interesting is it seems like after all the injuries that happened in the beginning of the season, Real Madrid kind of regrouped and they're finding form with their new kind of setup where Valverde's playing right back. You have this, what was it? The new center back. Was it Asensio? No.
Asensio, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So they're kind of trying to find a little bit of a rhythm now. And it's kind of working. They're back second. Atletico's behind 4 points.
Yeah.
After that, we got Athletic Club and Villarreal at 5th.
You
Well, what
triggered
about
me
Real
when
Betis?
you triggered me when you mentioned freaking Atletico Madrid because I was about to
Again?
go to last week and fucking lose to them.
Look,
Alex was having PTSD and
look
flashbacks.
I'm like twitching, like let me in,
Yo,
let me
his
out.
face is all red. He's like, oh, the buildup is still coming out. Look at him.
No, but you, Hassan, you brought him up. I want to talk about Real Betis.
Yeah, I was gonna say Real Betis. They're fifth.
It looks
No,
like
they're 6th right now.
it
Yeah,
looks
sixth.
like the 5th spot in La Liga might get Champions League, and they're tied with Villarreal right now. So you never know what could happen.
Yo,
Listen,
your boy Anthony pulling magic.
There's only 2 teams that won all their last 5 games in La Liga. And that's Barcelona and Real Betis.
Real Betis.
And they beat
So,
Real
listen,
Madrid.
this is called the Anthony effect. Hassan, you want to talk about the GOAT conversation? I see a GOAT right here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's a great footballer. He just went to a shitty club.
He's very.
Listen, if you want to ruin your career, go to Man United. That's where your talent will die.
I think we already said this many times.
Many times, but yeah, that's actually interesting. Villarreal up there. I mean, I know they've been playing some pretty direct football. They have a pretty good, good amount of goal scoring.
They've fallen off lately because the gap between Villarreal and other teams was much larger a few months ago.
Yeah, because they lost their last 2 games, so they're kind of starting to, the other teams are catching up.
What about how sad would it be if Valencia got relegated? That would be a shock across Spain because I think Valencia is an iconic team. Imagine Chelsea getting relegated in England. I think that's like an equivalent.
Is Chelsea an iconic team? Come on, man.
They certainly won more trophies than Arsenal.
I mean, to be fair though, listen, as much as in terms of, no, I wouldn't say iconic, but if you talk about English football, and I'm going to get to that, but English football, no. Premier League, 100%. If you don't think that Chelsea is a very concrete part of our idea of the Premier League, then I don't know what you're watching. Ever since 2003, they have been a staple of the Premier League. Whether you like it or not. Listen,
let's talk about Valencia. Fuck Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was just trying to bring a comparison because I know for some reason people always.
I think Everton would be more of a
Everton.
Remember how they almost got relegated?
Dude, Valencia won. Was it? They won La Liga. What? 2006.
Wait, it was early 2000s. Early
2002. Yeah, I think it was early. But tell me when Everton played in the Champions League. Valencia was in Champions League almost every year for the past.
It's true. Even
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's a pretty big drop off, and I don't know why it's like they're not producing the same. Before they used to have a good academy, so a lot of young players come through. You have David Silva, David Villa. I'm trying to remember who else was in their academy. Wait, Dani Alves played for Valencia, right?
Yeah, no, Dani Alves played for
Sevilla.
Sevilla, okay.
I'm thinking about
from Sevilla.
Fernando Morientes.
Morientes, yeah.
Then he went to Madrid.
Did he? I thought he went somewhere else.
He jumped around, but yeah, honestly, but the relegation race
it would be sad and a shocker if they get relegated, but then they kind of did this to themselves. You kind of have to perform at this level, but I think they're a few points away.
No, it's like this. Listen, between 19th and 15th, there's only a 3-point gap. So, I mean, they're not in there, but they could very easily get into that drop zone. The only team that's pretty much
let's look at this way.
Let's look at this way.
The hardest team they play is Madrid in 2 weeks. So if they can, I don't know, even if they lose that, and maybe Sevilla. So out of the 2 of the 8 or 9 games they have left, they have 2 games that could potentially lose. The other games they could get points on.
Listen, on one hand, I would love to continue to talk about Valencia, but on the other hand, relegation at this point, who cares? I think what's more important, at least in the context of this, is
I would say the La Liga is probably the most competitive league out of the top 5 right now. It's a 3-horse race, though. What are you looking at? Or maybe Serie A. You could put Serie A.
I would say
you're talking about competitive. Take those 3 horses.
There's 3-horse league.
Is that not the most predictable league in the fucking world? It's always the same
Fair.
three
Well,
teams.
I was
every
gonna
year.
say usually Barca and Madrid usually wins it.
Oh,
Now
but what
it's
they
a
win?
3-horse
It's the same-
compared to everybody else, every
same-
other league.
same
Bayern
three
already got
horses
Bundesliga.
every year.
Liverpool already
I don't
got.
think
Well,
Barca and
Prem.
Real sucking each other off every year.
No.
No,
Listen,
I'm just talking about in terms of like
I don't think-
predictability of like competitive nature between three teams. Two of the top five leagues already done
You know exactly who's gonna win every year. How is that? How is that competitive?
between three teams.
Yeah, it's the same fucking three teams. It's like watching
That's
this
competitive
movie
between
over and
them.
over again. It's
Okay, I'm
me-
talking about compared to the other leagues we have this year.
okay.
The Prem is already done.
Whether
Bundesliga is
Barca-
done. French
what-
league is done.
Whether Barca or Madrid Atletico win doesn't fucking make weather for anybody.
Listen,
I'm
in
just saying
terms of-
there's still some excitement to watch it. You don't know who's going to win it.
excited? Who's excited?
I'm excited.
Okay, you're the only one then.
I don't know why aren't you?
yeah,
That
so,
and
so
Serie
it's
A.
like
The
so
other
it's
three
basically
leagues are
all of
done.
Latin America.
No, the other three leagues are done. Like, am I wrong?
Listen, the most exciting league in terms of actually having different teams almost every single year and something new is Serie A. That is hands down the most
100%.
interesting one because you have out of nowhere Atalanta, Napoli make a resurgence, Inter's doing well. AC Milan had they only won like 2 years ago.
They did.
Juventus fell off a fucking cliff. Like you have, it's. I mean, really, like what
The ref,
how do you
the
win?
ref aren't telling them.
How do you win 10 in a
There's
row
no
and then
rep
you
money.
fucking like you have nothing? You're literally a fucking mid-table team, effectively.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what happened to United, so we don't have to talk about that.
No, we'll talk about United. Don't worry. But again, in terms of La Liga, I think we can wrap this one up. I mean, it's kind of
Let's talk about Serie A because the other three leagues are dead.
no. I just want to say, like, Athletic Club going into Champions League, I think is pretty good. I mean,
Isn't that one
again,
of the Basque teams? They're a Basque
is.
team, right?
it is,
they're
and this is
fucking
one of the
wild.
most. It's one of the only teams that actually sources players locally and still performs.
Let me tell you about the Basque region. I visited. They're fucking wild. They have their own language. They have their own culture, and they basically put the Spanish flag on the fucking floor and they piss on it. They're forced to be a part of that fucking country. If they could be independent. Well, that's political, but I'm just saying the Basque culture is engraved in their fucking football.
Yeah, I don't know why you're getting political here all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
No, it's football. I was going back to football.
Nah,
All
I
right.
was saying their
From-
culture is very interesting.
Spanish league is shit. Let's move on. Let's move.
All
on.
right. Well, we're gonna take a little note.
The other three leagues are shit too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's go outside. Let's take it outside real quick.
you guys need a
I
room.
want to say something about taking it outside, but it's gonna take it too far.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's not take a jump too
No,
far.
I was gonna take you out to the supermarket.
Why don't you need to go to the supermarket? My fridge is stocked.
You know what? Listen, you guys
You
could
wanna
go
go
to
outside.
You guys could go to Walmart, Trader Joe's. Don't care. We're gonna jump a very small distance and something that
Australia.
the Basque region shares with Spain, and that's France.
Why are we talking about the Liga? Like, what are we talking about?
No,
PSG
because
won
it's not
that shit.
okay. PSG is winning it, yes, but let's talk
PSG,
about
what
some
are
of
we
the other
talking
teams
about?
some of the other teams that are coming up and going to the
Who?
Champions League. So
Brest,
you have
Brest
Marseille.
isn't gonna be there. Marseille, Monaco, Nice. They've been there before. Lyon, Lille.
When
I mean,
was
listen-
What are we talking about?
Yo, Marseille has been not a stable, participant of
when was
Champions
Nice
League.
in the Champions League? I'm sorry, Hassan. I don't remember any year that Nice was in the Champions League.
Yeah, Nice was in the
Yeah.
Europa League a few times and the
Yeah.
Conference League.
What kind of?
Yeah,
what kind
that's
of
yeah.
massive
Listen, I
league?
don't know what kind of Champions League you're watching.
One they saw in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, maybe that Champions League. Yeah,
The
learning
Arabic
Arabic.
Champions League.
I was learning Arabic.
you might as well start learning Arabic because you're gonna get sacked from this podcast.
And listen, the almost resurgence of Lyon, where they're going through all this financial stuff, where they're on the verge of getting like a bunch of points docked for financial things,
Oh, we
and they're
talked
still
about this.
performing.
Yeah, we talked about this. Is it the same thing as like Everton, where they got a bunch of points deducted from them?
Well, they haven't.
actually,
They
They don't have
haven't
any
yet.
points deducted. Sorry, I was. You could go ahead, but I was gonna say they don't have any points deducted. They were just told by the French Federation that if you don't make a certain, it's funny. It's like the freaking mafia trend. They're like, "Oh, you gotta make a certain amount of money, or we kick you out." They're like, "How
Of the
much
league?
money? Why?"
Wait,
Yeah.
out of the league?
Yeah, like they get kicked out of the top division.
So basically, they're going to get auto relegated to I think the second
Yeah,
league.
even if they finish like 5th or 4th, if they
What if
don't
they
meet
win the league?
financial targets, yeah, if they
Well,
win the league, like doesn't matter.
Hypothetically, if they win the league.
Doesn't matter. They'll still get kicked out.
That's
Yeah, I
they
think
don't make
it was
money.
it was something financial where they weren't meeting some kind of financial obligation. something with their ownership, and I don't know. That's all I know. And they were trying to. That's why they were trying to sell a lot of their like players to kind of raise funds. But again, even with all of, and I know they were pretty damn low for like a season or two now. And wasn't Laurent Blanc their coach?
Dude,
That
I
was a
think
while ago.
they cycled through like 5 coaches last year.
Yeah, that was a
Every
while
month
ago.
a new coach.
That was.
Anyways, but again, pretty cool. They're getting. I know they're doing pretty well in the Europa League. They're gonna, they're up against Man United in the
What
next
are they?
round.
They're fifth. Is that Europa League or is that the playoff?
It is Europe. It is Europa League.
You know, I also want to give a shout out. No one really talks about this team, Strasbourg. They're 4 points off a Champions League spot right now. Nobody talks about them.
You know what?
This package of the season.
That's true. You know what we could kind of talk about? We've been hyping up Lille a lot this season, but they're actually not even in a Europa League spot.
Yeah.
I fell off a train.
I mean, they have the same thing that most like average teams go through. They have a couple good games, everyone starts talking about it, and then they kind of fall off. So now
It's also, I think, the cycle of the kind of almost successful teams where you do well, you sell some of your players, and you kind of fall back to
Well, that's
lower
how clubs
level.
make money. It's business at the end of the day.
No, it is business, but that's kind of it's a vicious cycle to the big teams.
That's true. But I think,
anyways, move on to the other shitty league.
What's exciting? One last thing with Hassan's attitude here. But what's exciting about France is they're kind of like the Bundesliga, where if you take away PSG and Bundesliga will be Bayern, the top four is different every year. So you always got new teams going Champions League. We have Brest this year. We had Lens the year before. We had Monaco, I think, this year. Marseille like 4 years ago. Stade Rennais was in a Champions League when they had Camavinga before he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah, was a few seasons Nantes was like in the Europa League.
Nantes was in Europa League. Yeah, so like it's always like new teams coming up and everyone's got an opportunity, and obviously PSG is winning the league title, but it's
is it really an accomplishment?
Yeah. It's still like cool to see like teams get opportunities to be in Europe. It's not
When was the last time? Wait.
Again, and we're talking about these leagues in the context of the teams participating in Europe, not specifically who's winning the league. If they win the league, who cares?
Who won the league? Liga like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? That wasn't PSG.
Oh, it was Lille actually.
Lille, right?
Yeah, they
did.
And
then the cycle you were talking about, Edgar.
Yeah, exactly. They sold a bunch of players, and then it's owners cash in. All right. Well,
like 2010s, there was like a wild one where Montpellier got promoted to the top flight and won the league right away when they had Olivier Giroud.
Olivier.
Yeah.
I wonder where he came from.
Pretty boy.
Anyways.
Well, the other league that's pretty much done and dusted is the Premier League. Liverpool running away.
Geographically, I was taking a fucking Euro trip right now. Spain.
Yeah,
France,
don't worry about it. I'm kind of doing.
He's crossing the channel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, go from Spain into France, you cross the English Channel.
I was railing his way through Europe,
and then you take a flight to
No, are we gonna make it to Aberdeen or not? Like, I just
don't worry, but I don't think we're gonna go that far north.
Nah, he's gonna stop at Wolverhampton.
What about Plymouth?
I'm more of a Middlesbrough type of guy.
Well, we know who's not a Middlesbrough type of guy.
The guy in the orange shirt.
The guy in the orange
shirt.
I
almost died in Middlesbrough.
All right. Well, listen. Nottingham Forest. They, maybe they're getting their Champions League aspirations back.
Yeah.
Listen, you never know.
It was like the 80s, right? They won 2 titles, 2 back-to-back European Cups. That's crazy.
It's true. So
I'll say though, like as much as the top is kind of like done, like it was pretty surprising to see Forest in that position. And if you look between like 4 to 9, Chelsea, City, Newcastle, Brighton, Fulham, Aston Villa, even Bournemouth, anyone else could snap up those other Champions League spots.
I think basically the 4th place, that's very much up for grabs, as Alex said, up until like from 5th to, from 4th to 10th, anybody can grab that spot. It's like,
it'll be crazy if City doesn't make it to Champions League. It'd be fucking hilarious.
That would be crazy. Yeah. City's going to be playing under the Europa League anthem.
Yo, Pep's going to break the bed.
No, City in the Conference League.
Playing
against some fucking Kazakhstan teams.
Yo, I did want to give a quick shout out to Chris Wood. Yo, 18 goals, 3 assists in the Prem right now. Come on, man. Who expects that from an Aussie?
Was it
Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, and Chris Wood? My God.
No, I was gonna shout out the coach, Nuno Espirito Santo.
Oh well, we all know. You know him from Wolverhampton.
Quite
No, but
familiar.
you would think like he had a few shitty stints. Like he went to Tottenham, completely sucked. He went to Saudi Arabia, sucked completely. Now he actually went back and actually making Nottingham Forest play as like a Champions League spot team. That's crazy.
So you tell
He
me
was always a good coach.
you tell me he speaks Arabic?
Well,
I
no,
mean, he had
couldn't
to learn a
speak
bit of Arabic. Yeah.
No, he failed and he came back.
So he didn't learn Arabic.
He's Balkan. Remember, he's Portuguese.
He's Balkan.
He's what Amarim should be aspiring to be.
Amarin should start learning Arabic. This fucking way.
Well, I think actually, speaking of that, I mean, we could talk about some teams that you usually expect to be closer to. Yeah, we do. Listen, we got to mention it, you know, just to rub it in a little bit. Man United, 13th.
You know,
it would be funny if Man United win Europa League and get a Champions League spot while finishing like 15th in the Prem.
Oh, you know what's funny? Then City will be in the Conference League.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's good.
That'll be the biggest fuck you to the noisy neighbors. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
That is wild. But then again, you know, again, just one last thing. It's interesting how going into the season we had this difference between, you know, people comparing Man United and Chelsea, you know, how both of them kind of were struggling, and how Chelsea, even though they struggled, were still able to keep up with everybody, while Man United jumped off a cliff.
I think it's just instability. You're switching coaches. You're buying shitty players. The list goes on and on.
You're giving players. You know the difference is, it's like Chelsea, while they maybe spent a lot of money, they have so many options that any coach that comes in has such a variety of picks.
Young, fucking hungry lads.
But then you go to Man United, you have Casemiro on 350K a week doing fuck all. You have I don't know,
front three. They have this. They have what's his?
Oh wait, well they have Nicholas Jackson, they have Sancho, they have Palmer, they have and
what is that? Odoy? No, not Odoy. What's his name?
No, and Weka or something.
Caicedo. This Caicedo guy from is he Colombian?
From Brighton. But he's a defensive mid. He's not an attacker.
I mean, still he's young. I'm talking about young guys, bro. All these young guys.
Dude, the whole team is. You know what? Again, just last thing about the Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez, ever since the World Cup, fell off a cliff.
He got paid. He got a supermodel wife, and he got in London. What else you want?
No, apparently he divorced his wife too. He said he's too young. He wanted to explore the field. He was it was a.
I don't think he was talking about a field.
I think it was talking about the pitch.
No, he got it sorted, man.
All right. Well, listen. Now we're gonna take a quick flight from London Heathrow to Germany.
We're in Germany.
You know, the English have taken that flight before. It's German. It didn't work out well.
40s.
It did not work out.
No, actually, it worked out pretty well. What are you talking about?
All right. You know what? Yeah, Hassan, we don't need a history lesson here.
What was the most important event in history?
French Revolution.
There we go. That's all you
need. Exactly. Well, we go from French Revolution to Bayern making a German Revolution.
We're going to Bavaria, right?
We are going to Bavaria. But honestly, like Bayern Munich, you know, I think it's expected. It's always like Bayern hold dominance. They lose one Bundesliga and suddenly have a resurgence.
I mean, they're only 6 points ahead of Leverkusen. Anything could still happen. 2 games.
Come on, Leverkusen's just not doing well.
Leverkusen is dog shit. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, like listen, it's so hard. You know, like when you play well, you have belief in yourself. You have belief in the team, and sometimes that momentum helps carry you through games. It really feels like Leverkusen doesn't have any kind of confidence or momentum behind them.
Yeah. Bayern Munich only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 league games, and the hardest game they have is against Dortmund.
That's not hard. Oh. That's not hard in the
there you go.
That's not hard.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah. So honestly, but other than that, Mainz being in the Champions League spot, that's new.
Pretty big story, Alex. You're a pretty big supporter of that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I will say I've been following Mainz since like they started uprising the.
What kind of uprising?
What are we uprising to?
They started the season okay. They haven't been, they didn't stand out, but like as the season, picked up, they started winning game after game after game. And the last game they tied at home against Freiburg 2-2, and that was disappointment because they were on the winning run before then. I gotta mention Jonathan Burkhardt, 15 Bundesliga goals. He's gonna be a Bayern next year.
Is he the Chris Wood?
He's gonna get picked up.
Is he the Chris
Wait,
Wood?
so what's gonna happen to Harry Kane?
Harry
He's
Kane's
got his
going
medal.
for-
What else he wants?
Tottenham.
He finally gets a league medal. What else he wants?
Yeah, but I think
He's gonna
if
get
Mainz-
that.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You know, there's for top scorers in the Bundesliga, you got that cannon.
Oh.
So he's gonna get the cannon. He's gonna take it to Tottenham.
Isn't Cannon what Arsenal's associated with? That whole like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you wouldn't want a can. He want a cock on the ball.
Anyways,
I mean,
let's move on from the descriptions of the club logos.
No, but I was gonna say, I hope Mainz holds on to that Champions League spot because then you have Frankfurt.
How many points is it?
They have 45. They're tied right now with Frankfurt, who are on fourth, and then you have
Leipzig is right there too.
Leipzig and Freiburg 3 points
Freiburg.
behind. Mönchengladbach.
Even Gladbach's within reaching distance.
But I think beyond Gladbach, everything else
Let's look
might
at their
be
games.
out of-
Yeah, I mean, again,
Mainz have some tough games, dude. I look
Bro,
at
they
this-
play Dortmund, they play Wolfsburg, they play Bayern,
Yeah,
they play Frankfurt. Oh yeah, they got
they played all little. They played everybody in like the fucking top.
Well, they got 7 games, and they're playing 3 top teams.
yeah. But in the last few games, they beat Mönchengladbach away, they beat Leipzig away, and they beat Stuttgart at home.
No,
So
but
they
that
seem
draw
to play.
against Freiburg really fucked them up.
That it was a red card. I was watching the game. They had a red card in the first half, and then after that, they're up 1-0. And then when the red card happened, they were all over the place. There was also like it's time for carnival right there, so they have like they're in a festival mood. Probably have a few too many pints before the game.
I
But-
mean, I would too.
But I think if they could, so their next 3 games are Dortmund, Holstein Kiel, Hoffenheim, and Wolfsburg. If they could win 3 out of those 4, I think they'll finish in the top 4.
It's
Yeah.
doable. Especially if they
You
beat
know,
Frankfurt.
Right.
And again, one of the reasons I do like the Bundesliga is obviously aside from Bayern winning every single season is you do actually have, as Alex said, kind of rotating set of teams that always play. So, for example, like we remember, maybe a decade ago, Wolfsburg always being in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Stuttgart being there.
Werder Bremen too. Remember?
Werder Bremen, exactly.
Schalke. What about Schalke? Well, they're not in the
Schalke's
Bundesliga
in like Bundesliga 2 right
yeah,
now.
but they were always in the Champions League.
Oh, and even the Hamburg.
Hamburg.
They used
Yeah.
to be.
Hamburger.
But Schalke's about to be in Bundesliga 3. Ever since they lost the Russian oil money, it's not been working out for them.
You know why? Because they thought the club was funded by the coal mining, but it really wasn't.
No, it was not.
It was funded by that pipeline.
Yeah.
No, they got piped. The plumber came in, he laid the pipe, and then he laid the wife.
Hey,
Senor.
whoa.
Senor.
Oh my God. Whoa, sir.
All right. Well,
Are we sure we're talking about the Bundesliga still?
well,
Pipeline,
let's move on from the Bundesliga to I think the most interesting of the top 5 leagues, and that is the Serie A. The Serie A is giving us a lot to talk about, and of course, we still have a pretty tight race between Inter and Napoli.
I was gonna say, like, I think a few months ago we were like, "Oh, Napoli's gonna run away with it, Conte's system," and turns out they didn't run away with it.
I will say though that last game between Atalanta and Inter, Atalanta was so disappointing. I don't know what's going
Just fell
on.
off a cliff. I
They
don't know what's going on with them,
ever since they got knocked out of Champions League, they haven't been the same.
bro.
They've been super inconsistent.
The game that was crazy, Venezia Napoli 0-0. They were played at the Stadio Pierluigi.
Oh yeah, fuck Venezia.
Yeah, such a nice atmosphere. It was a sunny day. It was a beautiful day to play football.
Yeah, except when we went, it's fucking raining horizontally.
Yeah, piece of advice: don't go to Venezia in December.
Don't go to Venezia at all. Unless you're
It's
trying to
a
get
nice
laid.
place.
Yeah,
Listen,
take your.
if it's
Yo, Alex, the guy
it's
you've been
sunny,
following.
it's
Take a
great.
bird with you, or find a bird there. The bird.
Wait.
You're talking about birds.
You going bird watching in Venezia?
Yeah, Hassan, this
bird
isn't a
watch.
National Geographic.
Hassan is quite an avid,
Why don't you wanna tell me what the bird thing is about?
Well, you go bird watching, like you go to the park. You have those like
Yeah, you know that you have the little, the birds with the red hair, and then the
what?
yeah, the different color birds, man.
What about the
Like
birds with the blonde hair?
What are you talking
Whoa,
about?
I think we're talking about different birds here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hassan, if you're trying to do a Euro trip, you can do that on your own time.
Honestly.
Disappointing result for Napoli. They dropped two crucial points where they should have won that game.
That last game, Bologna Lazio 5-0. Love that. Absolutely. I think Bologna's been on fire lately.
So you guys think Juve could sneak into Champions League? Like that, they're fifth right now.
I hope
and
not.
They're like 5 points away.
Fuck that.
Honestly, I don't want to see Juventus. They're such a woeful team at this moment. Like even watching them is kind of painful. I don't know what After Thiago Motta left Bologna, you expected him to do something with Juventus. I know Juventus doesn't have the best squad. They're maybe in a transitionary period, but you'd still expect more. That Bologna squad wasn't particularly great. Yeah. But to see him kind of, and I know you could say, oh, they're only 52 points and the Inter has 64. They're not doing bad, but they're not doing great for what Juventus is supposed to be in Serie A.
Yeah, Thiago Motta left. He left Bologna just for Bologna to be above them.
It's an inside job.
It really is though, but like honestly, I don't want to talk about Juve. I want to talk about Bologna because they were not good in the Champions League, and then you see them in Serie A how they rebounded since.
Yeah,
they've been phenomenal. They've been in Milan. Like I said, they just wiped the floor with Lazio. They've been Atalanta in the quarterfinal of Coppa Italia at Atalanta.
Yeah,
they've had some scout. They beat Dortmund at home. It's a great team. They got a point at Inter at San Siro, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not.
What about y'all? AC Milan, 9th?
Another team that fell off a cliff.
I don't know. It doesn't even seem like it's the ownership. I know there's a lot of protests against the American ownership.
Players. It's the fucking players. They're shit. Like, come on. If you have Rafael Leao, we watched him. He laughed for fucking 80 minutes of the game. He doesn't play football. He's just on the side. Hey, this guy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's funny. Leao, like, when we watched the Man United, like all those years ago, Pogba was playing left back half the time. He sends one long ball and just walks.
Is that what Pogba did have? Bro, look at his stats. You're telling me your team's best player, you got 7 goals and 6 assists in a whole season in Serie A? Come on.
And wasn't he like considered like the MVP or
is that MVP
player of the year?
Numbers? No, I think come on.
Leao was just bird watching out there. I don't even think he's playing. I don't know what he's doing.
all these guys on the National Geographic channel.
Listen, for what it's worth, Christian Pulisic is having a way better season.
That's true.
That's saying something.
The other thing I want to say is, okay, I understand we kind of see the top 4, but it's also nice to see that the clubs from Roma are actually trying to, trying to actually be up there and trying to contend with some of the European spots. Because I remember like Lazio used to go up and down. Roma used to be absolutely nowhere. Now they're trying to resurge.
I gotta say, since Roma picked up Claudio Ranieri this year, they've been on fire. They just, except for the Europa League exit, that was kind of disappointing with that Hummels red card.
Yeah,
but in the league,
no, dilly ding, dilly dong.
Yeah, dilly ding, dilly dong.
He's been known to do a lot of dilly dinging.
All right.
Football pitch. What are you getting?
Yeah.
Out of the gutter.
I was gonna mention. Two of the 4 teams we saw, they're getting relegated.
Venezia, Monza. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to say Udinese's 10th.
We're
Milan.
Yeah.
We're definitely not good luck for a lot of teams. I'll say that.
We're getting teams relegated, man.
Yeah, I think.
How many teams we saw actually that did get relegated?
Think about all the teams we went to support: Atalanta, Milan, Monza, Venezia, they all fell off a cliff. Two
Yo,
of them
so
getting
why
relegated.
isn't Real Madrid fucking losing then?
Because we weren't supporting them.
Oh, that's true though. Yeah.
I think
We were hating on them.
we did that in England too. We went to see Norwich. They got relegated the same year.
Oh, remember we went to see West Brom, came back, they were in the Champions League. Yeah, Stoke City.
They got relegated.
Stoke City got Middlesbrough was already in the championship at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
QPR.
Man.
They got relegated.
QPR is about to be in League 1.
League
One?
One? What,
Yeah, they're so bad they're gonna get sent to France.
They're gonna take the French channel.
They're gonna go across the English Channel.
Next season, QPR playing Brest away.
Oh no, was it McDonald's Liga?
Yeah, McDonald's League on.
Anyway.
Glad that even Uber Eats dropped them.
I guess the last thing I did want to maybe talk about very quickly is there could be a winner in the Europa League that could be a surprise addition to the Champions League next season. So we could just go through some of the things.
Man United.
Well, listen, we have Bodo Glimt from Norway playing Lazio.
How surprising is Bodo Glimt though? I don't know if you guys follow them, the team from Norway.
I've seen a few of their highlights, but I haven't watched their games. I'll be honest.
Dude,
wait,
honestly,
I think I've seen them play Man United. They play Man United in like one of those the group stages. I think. Yeah, Bodo Glimt.
Bodo Glimt, they knocked out
What, from Norway?
Olympiacos, who were defending champions of the Conference League. That was a scalp for me because I mean, the fuck is Bodo Glimt?
I don't know who the fuck they are.
It's a Norwegian team, but all right. Well, they're playing Lazio, so that could be a good matchup. Tottenham playing Frankfurt. I know Frankfurt's already a champion.
What?
I'm just saying.
He's saying potential teams that could be in the Champions League. Are you deaf? You're not listening?
I'm just going through I'm going through the matchups in the Europa League.
So just about Europa League winners?
Yeah.
No.
Underline.
Oh, that's a sound stat guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's coming in and be like, bro, Tottenham's not a winner.
I forgot to mute. We could cut that out.
No, we're keeping that.
All right.
Get that in a promo.
So we got Tottenham playing Frankfurt. Frankfurt's already in a Champions League spot. Tottenham, scraping relegation.
What spot is Tottenham in?
Nobody cares. We got Lyon playing Man United. And again, honestly, I think Lyon's going to take this one. I think Lyon is playing much better football.
Are you betting against United?
Bro, listen, Man United is prime for implosion. Here's what Man United does. They win one or two games, they build up hype on Instagram, and then they go on to lose against fucking Norwich. That's what Man United does. So do not take Man United seriously at any level. And honestly, to be fair, Lyon has been playing very well. They're scoring a lot of goals. They're actually a pretty dynamic team at the moment.
I will say Man United is undefeated in Europa League this year.
They are actually the only undefeated team in all of Europe.
So
what happened in the Prem?
They prefer
the UK is not part of Europe, so
yeah, that's it. They only play well in the Balkan region.
All right, and last one we have Rangers playing Athletic Club. I think Athletic Club has a strong shout to win the whole thing.
What about not Rangers? You don't want to go to Glasgow?
So they still get relegated? No, but I wanted to say I think both in Europa League and Champions League, the teams whose stadiums are being used for the final still have a chance of playing a home final. Because for Europa League, the finals being played in Bilbao at their stadium. And in the Champions League, it's been playing in Munich at the Allianz Arena, where Bayern is still in Champions League too. So we could possibly have both finals being played by home teams.
Yeah,
I don't think Bayern's gonna make it that far, but yeah, you never know.
I don't think Harry Kane's cannon is gonna fire that far.
You never know.
He's got a small. Yeah, one thing is cannon small.
It doesn't have enough. It doesn't have the balls are not big enough to go into the cannon.
Well, we should leave before our son puts more teams in the French league.
I know. On that note, we appreciate you guys for listening. If there are any comments, drop them down below, whatever platform you can. Subscribe. I don't know. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. I don't know.
Give us a 1-star rating.
Give us a 1-star. Yeah, exactly. Tell Sonic doesn't know what he's talking about.
Tell Alex to not wear a fucking stupid jersey when it's international duty.
Whoa! That was personal.
That was pretty.
That was really personal.
And on that personal note, we appreciate you guys for listening and continue to Net 6 and chill.
Adios.